Epic War is a strategy-based side-scroller PvE game about controlling your units to destroy the enemy base before they defeat you. I have been a gamer as long as I can remember, but I cannot think of a game I have spent the most time interacting with like the Epic War franchise. This video will be a subjectively factual review of each of the games that I have played for hours upon hours upon hours of end. I'm sorry, Epic War 6. And explain to you why it is one of the greatest games ever made. So sit back, relax and enjoy as I tell you how a simple flash game cemented its legacy over a decade later. Ah yes, humble beginnings. If I had to describe Epic War 1 in one word, it's foundation. The first Epic War game had very basic gameplay compared to other flash games at the time. I said basic, not easy. On the surface, the game is about training your units to defeat the enemy's base before they can destroy yours. You have a small yet important range of choices to make when engaging in battle. You can summon one of 7 units, fortify your base with a choice of 4 different upgrades, or you can shoot either a normal arrow or an elemental arrow to help aid the mission. Once the level is complete, assuming you didn't quit like a pussy, the gamer may upgrade their pool so that their army is stronger. The things that you invest in have their own strengths and weaknesses, so the player must choose wisely. Even at the very bottom of the barrel, Epic War is a game where good decisions are rewarded and blunders are punished. Very brutally punished. Despite the game having solid foundational gameplay with many different styles of play to choose from, the game is heavily outdated compared to other strategy games. In fact, saying that Epic War holds up today compared to the newer games out there would be an incredibly disingenuous statement to make. But what Epic War did do is show you glimpses of the action that is yet to come. Final rating, 5 out of 10. Epic War 2, on the other hand, is a completely different story. Epic War 2 can only be described as magical. Whilst the fundamental principles of the first game were pretty much recycled, the chess-like strategy aspect, however, was brought up by 100. Now, you need to build up your ends game of every level before you think about what units you want to summon, which allows the player to think in advance. What units might the enemy have? How will I defend myself whilst I set up? How do I rebuild things when things go pear-shaped? Because trust me, they will go pear-shaped. How can it go pear-shaped? Well, the second game introduced arguably the most controversial feature in the Epic War franchise, revenge waves. This spam of enemy souls is a wave of mayhem that charges at you when the opponent's base reaches an all-time low. Sometimes more than one, sometimes stacked simultaneously. It's another aspect of the game that the player must think about if they intend on progressing through the game. Furthermore, the second game added lore and storyline to the franchise by making you read a story about the upcoming battle, increasing the stakes in the war you're participating in.
Kill it, kill it, kill it! Oh! 28 HP.
Epic War 2 did everything that Epic War 1 envisioned, but better. There's more variety in difficulty, tactics, 3 different races to choose from, greater decisions that form your game, and scary boss battles at the end, rewarding the player for their efforts with 6 new achievements. Whilst the gameplay is a lot slower paced compared to the others, and the storyline does have a lot of waffle, the game is an absolute fan favourite with hours of replayability and unique combat and gameplay. Final rating, 9 out of 10. In 2009, however, everything changed. The third game in the franchise is often regarded as the best in the series, and for good reason. Not only is there amazing replayability in the game, as shown by being part of the Best of 2009 awards, but it's also got the most combat heavy. Okay, admittedly, this can make Epic War 3 incredibly laggy, but that's your own fault for triggering the revenge wave. The third installation is all about patience and timing. You see, now you don't get the privilege of summoning units manually. No. They get summoned one at a time after a certain time period has elapsed. This also works for your spells as well. With 30 different units and 10 different spells, you must choose carefully which 6 of them are you going to bring with you into the battlefield. With 6 different heroes and 6 different paths to unlock all the resources that the game has to offer, the variety is endless. And once you're done finishing the game with one hero, the game takes an interesting turn of events. You see, Epic War 3 was the first in the franchise that offered more to the player once they completed the game. Of course, the New Game Plus feature allowed you to play using other heroes whilst keeping the progress that you've worked so hard to achieve. But I'm also talking about the Cave of Trials, a series of 5 brutal levels demanding the most patience, persistence, and gaming IQ to conquer. Not every player back in the day was able to defeat those 5 levels, but for those who did, the rewards were irreplaceable. Epic War 3 can only be summed up as revolutionary. The development put into the game brought back the fast-paced gameplay that everyone was happy with, and the addition of heroes hopefully foreshadowed the one piece of the puzzle that can project the Epic War series into new heights. Although the game can be clunky due to the number of entities on the screen, and the assault button isn't permanent, a widely complained about feature in the game, I have no choice but to score Epic War 3 a 7 out of 10. Hey, that last game did pretty well. Let's reuse all the artwork and make it so that we can use 3 heroes instead of 1. The idea of heroes is one that changed Epic War forever, starting with Epic War 4. Not only do we have our default hero unit, aka Vigruff the Red, who looks the same no matter what you picked in Epic War 3, that's why I called him the default hero. But this time around, you have another additional 4 options. You have Simon the Magician for that glass cannon magic offense, Popo's devastating castle siege potential, Cassandra, and Kara, who works as a good melee all-rounder. Each hero equipped allows the player to use 2 units, meaning not only do you have to think about what units you want to equip, but who will be in charge of leading that brigade, as once the corresponding hero dies, that unit will be MIA until the hero returns. I liked the idea of time-based units in Epic War 3, but I also like the idea of spending mana like in Epic Wars 1 and 2. As a wise man once said, why not both? Also, do you remember how I said that the previous games had better variety and difficulty? Well, this game one-upped that idea. You literally unlock harder difficulties after levels 6 and 12 respectively. That way, you have far more to play once you finish playing the game the first time. There are 12 levels in the main game, plus 4 challenge levels after you've finished. Multiply that by 3 different difficulties, normal, harder, and epic. 48 different puzzles to solve in Epic War 4. The user interface is also a lot clearer than previous Epic War games. Everything is linear, well apart from the green upgrade tree. But they needed to include some Easter eggs, didn't they? And easy to understand what's going on the screen. Although a lot of the artwork, as I mentioned, was recycled from Epic War 3, the game runs a lot smoother and also adds more units which never feel out of place during combat. If I had to describe Epic War 4 in one word, it would be remastered. Epic War 4 took all the ideas that worked in the previous games and combined it into one great game. While there are some minor problems in the fourth game like unit disobedience, I cannot rate Epic War 4 lower than an 8 out of 10. Oh my god, her first words! We round off the numbered games with my personal favourite in the franchise, Epic War 5. Wow, do I get backlash for that opinion. The word I use to describe Epic War 5 is optimized. Think about it. At this point, Epic War had 5 years to find its niche as a side-scroller fantasy strategy game, and Epic War 5 is the formula that worked all along. Heroes versus heroes. Kill the enemy hero before your hero dies. But Sammy, where are my spells? Glad you asked. In this game, each unit has their own skill tree, meaning that the units themselves learn spells. For example, here my Tauros has Rage, and anytime I equip the Tauros, I will be able to use Rage in battle. This is not limited to the heroes that you've picked at the beginning of the game, meaning the 3 different heroes you pick each have their own styles, strengths, and weaknesses. Vigraf is the reason why Wally is hiding, as you can use him for a defensive playstyle. Skull Knight is ready to burn down a village with his brute force like gameplay, and lastly Queen Etheria allows you to use 6 unit slots as opposed to 5 plus vampires.
Aw, but I miss castles.
Gotcha covered. Epic War 5 introduced one of the most underappreciated features in the franchise: buildings. When a building is summoned, not only can you potentially dish out more damage, heal your unit, or summon more to aid you in the battle, but you also stall out the enemy from coming towards you, leading to interesting strats to aid you win the fight. Over the years though, people are still torn whether they like the slow and smooth chess-like gameplay of Epic War, or the smooth and fast combat that they experience. The solution? Epic War 5 introduced a speed up button. BAM! Now you get to play the game how you've enjoyed it best over the past 5 years. If there's a battle you're already winning and you just want it to be over and done with, press M or press the button to make the game play at 3 times speed. If there's a battle that you're struggling with and you just need to think how you're gonna make the next steps, you can play slow and just leave the game at normal speed. That's the thing with Epic War 5. It caters to everyone in the community. Some may say that the game is easy, but every level in the Epic War franchise is easy if you know the strategy to win. My only gripe with Epic War 5 is how, although I love the hero versus hero aspect of the game, and it was very well received by the community, I can't help but realise that after level 8, your hero becomes a glorified castle. Nonetheless, with 25 unique stages to beat and 30 different units to use, Epic War 5 gets a 9 out of 10 rating from me. Now, if only there was a better way of making the heroes more useful throughout the game. Don't rant about Saga, 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 don't rant about Epic War Saga. Arguably the most innovative, yet controversial game throughout the series. Epic War Saga was meant to be the Epic War game to end all Epic War games. The online Epic War game, so to speak. And, to a certain extent, they did a fantastic job. Your Congregate account now links to your progress in Epic War Saga, meaning for the first time you need not worry about losing all your progress if you play Epic War on another computer. For once, it actually felt like we had our Epic War account, that every single decision we made would impact our experience forever. We had levels to beat, hundreds of achievements to unlock, many different items to boost our stats. It was a recipe for success. They kept the hero versus hero aspect that we all knew and loved from the previous games, apart from one key difference. We can now control our heroes. This right here is exactly what the community needed. No longer did we have to worry about disobedient units, dumb hero AIs, or faulty manners. We had one for attacks and one for summoning units. We are in charge of our armies. Our units would have sacrificed themselves to attack the enemy heroes, killing all that's in our way. If you didn't like Epic War Saga, no worries! The developers at the time were very passionate about the project, informing the community with blogs and posts on social media, and adding new features to the game such as new units, features like the tower, and promo packs, all of which kept the community alive. So with a thriving community with so much to choose from, 72 different levels to beat, and regular updates to the game, what went horribly wrong? Why is this game seen as controversial? Well, if you just listen to what I just said with a cringe on your face, I think you know the answer. First of all, most of us knew pretty quickly that the online gimmick kinda lost its mark, due to the fact that yes, you could fight other people's heroes and setups, but it was an AI using another human's strategies. So the only reason why you would attack your friend's castles is if you wanted to farm the most battle points using your action. What is action? Well, it's the game's energy system to attack other people. Not to be confused with energy, which is used to beat the levels. That's right. Epic War officially had cooldowns between play sessions, meaning you couldn't grind the levels as hard as you once could in previous games. Which is awful, because Saga is hard. Really, really hard. You will hit a ceiling with Saga, and you will need to grind. But don't worry, we can make all the grinding go away with one simple action. Microtransactions. For the first time in 6 years, Epic War, the game that we all know and love, became pay to win. This accelerated the downfall of Saga and made people bored to death of the game, and almost resent it to no end. With knowledge of updates being MIA all of a sudden, and nothing new to the game being added, everyone just got bored of Saga, and the game was deleted sometime between 2015 and 2018. And although Saga was re-released back in 2018, history would quickly repeat itself, as people had more to complain about, and the game got as stale as ever. Not to mention that they had removed the good features from version 1.57 that fans had praised years prior. After all I have described, Epic War Saga can only be labelled as a waste. It had everything to be a successful game. A thriving community, good ideas, and fun gameplay. But due to lackluster additions to the game, and a dev team that just went missing all of a sudden, you can clearly see why Epic War Saga is the most hated game in the franchise. Final rating, 4 out of 10. As I'm describing my experiences and opinions on the first 6 games of the franchise, it doesn't answer a very important question. How did Epic War cement its legacy over a decade later? Why did this random flash game remain relevant for all this time? First one, very simple, nostalgia. This world sucks, but this community of gamers were able to find gratitude in the one game that gave them years of fun as a kid. Another good reason, Epic War is its own genre of game. Think about it. How many games can you name that are similar to the Epic War franchise? Okay, there are simpler strategy games like Stick War, Age of War. Notice a theme, guys? Yes, they are sort of like Epic War, but none of them hit the nail on the head like the Epic War franchise has. Yes, even Saga. And the most important reason, which I believe, is its revival. Now that Last Milan has the rights to the franchise and actually wants to do something with these games, we all have reasons to be excited for Epic War. So it acts as a catalyst in keeping Epic War relevant all these years later. All the relevant links to the Epic War franchise, games, Discord server, and Last Milan's YouTube channel so you learn more about the remakes will be in the description. This video would not have been made possible if it weren't for Nightfall, Scorpion, Shademus99, and anyone else who I took gameplay from. Additionally, I would like to thank the Epic War Hub for providing me with a few facts that I was a bit confused about during my research. All the relevant links will be in the description. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, favorite, share, subscribe, and of course,
go to hell!